All right, let me turn the desktop audio up. Let me get a mic check real quick, Doughboy. Fuck. All right, hold on. God damn it. Why I gotta run into problems today? Uh. I feel you. I feel you. Just give me chat. Give me a minute here, guys. Being a rookie today. Some technical difficulties. Audio output. God fucking damn it, dude. Media source. All right, hold on 1 second. Chat, can you guys throw a 1 in chat if you guys can hear me at least? Hey, what's up? Hear your guess. Yeah, we're trying to get it worked. Actually, I think, all right, boom. Give me a mic check one more time.
Check, yo.
All right, we're rolling. We're good. All right, my fault, guys. My fault. I'm being a dumbass. Didn't know how to get this shit set up, but we're rolling now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode 34 of Zed Daily, and I've got the homie with us, Senior Mex, a.k.a. Doughboy215. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, family? How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So, Doughboy, before we get into digital horse racing and crypto, I've heard you speak about what it takes to get a horse prepared for a real-life race. Can you tell us if you've, like, what your experience is in real-life horse racing? Like, did you have any experiences growing up, and just how'd you get into real-life horse racing?
Yeah, absolutely. See, this gets me giddy because I love. Now, what I was saying before, you're gonna have to stop me if I start rambling on, because when I get to talking about things that interest me, we get going.
Let's
you
go.
Know what I mean,
Let's
we get
go.
going. So, yeah, I was, I've said on Pony Pull Extreme and a couple other streams I've been on. I was essentially born into it. You know, my father worked at the local racetrack as an assistant trainer / gallop boy, where he would take the horses out for the morning workouts and everything. So like my grandfather was a gambler. His pops had a speakeasy, like underground poker games and stuff. So, you know, I was born into it. So, you know, he would take me out there in the mornings to watch, you know, all the training get done, because it gets done before 10 o'clock for the most part. And, you know, as I got older, I'd pick up a pitchfork, shovel some stalls, you know, got a little older. I'd grab the reins, walk the horses around, got a little older. I, you know, put the bandages on, you know. As I got older, I did more. And I basically just learned as I went from my father. And, you know, like my uncles, all my uncles worked as grooms, took care of horses. So it was just there. I had it was up until I think I was 21 or 22, until 21, I think it was, when I got my own horses. And that's when, like, it hit, like, yeah, it's fun to do this stuff casually, but when it's an everyday thing, that's your life. That's it. There's nothing else. Like, if you have your own horses and you don't have enough money to, like, hire help, it's you every morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting up, you know, taking the water buckets out, taking the feed buckets out, you know, tying the horse up, brushing them, picking the stall, getting them ready for the morning workouts, scrubbing the buckets, filling the buckets. You know, it's nonstop. You know what I mean? And it's a lot. It's a lot just maintaining a horse, but the training aspect of it is a lot too, because you got to remember they're athletes. You know, so they can't tell you what hurts. So you got to like, you
Mm.
have to be able to read the horse and, tell, give them, the rub down, see if they twitch anywhere, like check their legs. If they, jerk their leg back and maybe it's a little sore there, we do something along the lines to maintain their health. It's a lot. It's really a lot. And the, it, any, it's probably one of the riskiest plays that you could do with money. Like the horse racing game, they say it's sport of king. You have to have money to get in because your dog gets sick. What's that usually cost you if you have to get surgery? Your dog swallows something, a couple thousand. If your horse swallows something or has something like an ulcer or like colics where it has like these stomach indigestion problems, that's like thousands and thousands and thousands. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot going into it. So any of these things can happen while you're training these horses, and you don't know if and or how you can do your best to avoid all these things. But getting a horse ready and maintaining a horse's like physical fitness is probably one of the toughest things like to do. I mean, you can look at athletes, how they maintain their fitness, and they have their squad of dietitians, workout people. Same thing in a barn. You have your trainer who is in charge of basically everything, the assistant who picks up the slack. They have vets on staff, that they handpick. They have their own blacksmiths on staff that they handpick because some are better than others.
Wow.
Some do better footwork, and the most important part of a horse is their feet. If they ain't got feet, they can't run. So there's all the same outlines as being a normal like professional athlete, and it's up to the trainer to keep that all that in line, keep that daily regimen going, and step in and add things and take things out when they see needed. So it's tough.
Okay, gotcha. So you kind of spoke on like how much it costs to maintain a horse, but now if we're maintaining it and like we've got this horse, how are we gonna go about trying to make money with this horse? How are you gonna take a real life horse and enter it into a race to where you could potentially start making some money with this horse?
We have to know what you have. So the same thing is, you see that on the lines of Zed. Like you have to know what you have. If you went out and spent $100 on an elite, and it has a couple of races under its belt and it's okay, and you start to run it and you figure out it can't win, you got what you paid for essentially. That's not always the case with horse racing. It's you have to know what you have. So like it's based on where you start. So like when you start in your Griffey phase, the maiden racings, you go into it like same way you do is no one knows anything about these horses except in real life. You can see these horses train, so you might know that they're good. Like you can look at the horses' backgrounds for Zed, and you might know that they're good. You don't know, but you might know. So that's one way to prepare for it. But after that, there's a range. As is with Zed, the $250 to the $500 races. You can equate that to real life. 250 is we'll call that the $5,000 claimers. And that means that if you have $5,000 and you show up to the racetrack and you have your licenses and all this stuff, and there's a race that is full of $5,000 claimers, you can purchase a horse out of that race. But you know what you bought, you know what I mean? So you have a $5,000 horse that, will most likely be a $5,000 runner, maybe, $10,000 runner, maybe, but you'll never have that, grade 1 runner, grade 2 runner, the Kentucky Derby runners, the Breeders' Cup horses, the stakes horse. You'll never have that. You might have a handicap horse, but you'll never have that big stakes horse. And we haven't seen it yet. We're starting to see it little by little, but we won't see it for a little bit yet in Zed, where the premiums come in for Allspring. But that's essentially what it ends up being with horse racing. You pay the premium because you're paying for the bloodline. You're paying for the parents because they put out, the graded stakes winners or money producers or winners. That's what you pay for. And that's the crapshoot with that because you don't know. You don't know. You know what I mean? What you're paying for. You're paying because you assume that these bloodlines are the best. You're paying because this horse might have a chance to get you to the Derby. You know what I mean? So those are just crapshoots. And then there's the breeding game that follows into that. But normally, if you're just getting in, like when I got in, I had $5,000. So I found a horse that was $5,000, claimed it out of a race, and saw what the flaws of the horse were, what needed changing, worked on that, came back like a month later, $5,000 again because I knew I had a $5,000 horse, and we won the race.
Hey,
and that was huge.
That's dope.
Then we came back again, and the horse ran dead last, but someone bought it from me. So I came up nicely. That horse never won a race again.
He's a U-shaper.
It's yeah. I mean, you don't normally see U-shapers. It's weird in real life, obviously, but yeah, it's a monster of a game. But it's a lot of research. It's just like going into Zed when you go into. I'm sure you did. When you went and looked at horses to get into the game, you did your research. You looked at. Obviously, you want a profitable horse. You don't want a horse that's back end of the U and never in the front end. That's what you want when you come in to horse racing too. You come in with your bankroll, you work with what you have, and you work within the limits of your bankroll, and you try to maximize. You know what I mean? You try to make your first purchase the one that basically supports your stable, and same guidelines when you come into real racing. Or if you have all the money in the world, you just throw it at someone and say, "Here, let me know how I do at the end of the month." Like there are those people. And there's all I've seen all levels of them, and it's crazy. But yeah, you just have to do the research and figure out what you have. Sometimes you can find a diamond in the rough, like a lightly raced horse, maybe like less than 10 races under its belt, and you get it for 10,000. Because there's still undiscovered, there's still things to find out. Like 10 races may seem like a lot in real racing. Like most of the time after the 5th or 6th race in real racing, maybe even the 2nd or 3rd, you know what you have. You know what I mean? Some horses like to run, other horses just they don't want anything to do with it. It's not part of their daily regimen. But yeah, it's just a lot of research, man. You just gotta, if you want to get into a game like that, you just got to put the work in to figure everything out. It's just like this game, you have to do the research yourself. You can't just go in blind. Like if you have all the money in the world, you can do whatever you want, like blind, buy all these Genesis up. If you're not, and you're coming in with a bankroll that's, 1K, maybe less, then, you got to do a lot of work, because that's going to be your bread and butter for a little bit. You know what I mean? If that's what you're working with. So
what was your entry strategy? Like, first off, how did you discover Zed Run? And then when you discovered it, what was your entry strategy to getting your first few horses?
I saw, so, pardon me.
You're all good.
I wasn't really in the crypto game. Like last year, I didn't really mess around with it. Like it never was my thing. Middle of last year, I came across Top Shot and checked it out. I was like, oh, this looks dope. And then moved by. Nice move, And then I found Zed like in August, and I was like, okay, this is dope. I was up middle of the night, like just like searching Twitch, like horse racing, and it popped up. I was like, all right, this is cool. So I went to the site and I was like, all right, crypto. Yeah, I'm not doing this. So like passed it off until February, I believe, February or March of this year. Then I decided, I said, all right, we got in Top Shot like beginning of January. So like that was my bankroll. So I took that bankroll and brought it over. And I got in right when the player base went from 400 to like 2,000 overnight. And the drop was the next day. So I ended up buying like 600 in crypto, but I like in like ETH. And then after I transferred everything over, it's like 525 or something. And I was able to get 3 horses out of the drop, which was, pretty dope. Ended up with a Z10 and 2 Z9s. They're all glue, but I was able to get Genesis horses out of a drop. Not a lot of people can say that. But yeah, that was the entry point. And then I didn't really buy horses. They opened up breeding for like 7 or 8 hours, and I got both my mares in and bred them twice. And those ended up being like my stable until, breeding came back again, or, we had a drop. There was another drop. There was a couple of drops in between there somewhere, but I don't really want to talk about those because that was a catastrophe. But yeah, my entry point was really low. I basically worked up from what I had. The 4 horses that ended up breeding, one of them ended up being a very good producing mare, and basically is giving me the stable I have. I just run her babies for the most part. I don't really buy horses. I breed for need. Essentially, if I need a new horse to run, I'll breed one. If I don't need a horse, like the only one I'll breed is my producer. I'll maintain that monthly quota, but the other mares, like, if I don't need them, I don't breed them.
So, what is your favorite offspring? Like, what are you making every month with these horses? Are you making like Z18s, Z19s?
I made, excuse me, damn. What was it, Z26s? I think. Hold on. No, Z22 elites. Because I had won a Nakamoto stallion from a raffle, a Z6, which is pretty dope, and the bloodlines were pretty nice. There was terms of engagement blood in there, so that was dope. So like I took my Z6 exclusive knock and I put it with my Z16 exclusive Buterin mare, and that gave me Unexpected Birth, that's my man's, that's my runner, that's my tournament horse. Like he's been profitable. I think he's like 0.15 profit out of like 600 or 700 races or something, but he's been shelved because of downclassing. But he's been the best, one of the best ones to come out. And then I literally just bred her. Honestly, like I said, if like my strategy in the game is to follow the trend that works and just ride it out. She's done nothing but give me, 10% winners, 10% winners, 10% winners. So now like I started moving her up with the bloodlines. So like I hit her with the Z6 3 times. 2 out of 3 ended up being good runners. The third one I basically gave up on and sold because I'm an idiot. And then I hit her with a Z10, a Z9. Both babies were good. And then like I jumped her up and hit her with a Z3, a Z4, a Z5. And then they all came out nice. And I have one for the maiden tomorrow that I hit my Z16 exclusive Butte with a Z2 knock Genesis. So, we're gonna see what happens. We got some nice ones for tomorrow. But yeah, she's been the bread and butter. I haven't really tried. I'm working with a minimal bankroll, so like I don't really have the liquidity to just like hit all my mares and just try to find more. I'll get there eventually. You know what I mean? Like they'll get figured out, but I really have fun working with this one.
Okay.
She's been the best.
So if you had like, let's say an unlimited bankroll, like obviously you probably buy Z1s, right? But like what would you think would be like, let's say you could own any Genesis horse Z1 through Z10. What offspring would you be making every month? Like what is your favorite bred horse? What genotype, Z number, and bloodline?
I think it would probably be a Z3, honestly.
Z3s? Nakas?
Yeah. No. I would the Z3 Zabo Genesis probably.
Okay.
I think I don't know. It's hard because a lot of the stuff's coming out. Like before in the past, like Zook went to bat for Zabos nonstop, and I've bred with Zabos, and I like the bloodline. I think they pass a lot. And obviously everyone wants knock. And in the early ages of Zed, you didn't see Finnies anywhere. You saw some Finny racers. You didn't see a lot of Finny breeders. But now it's changing, and like the hype, the flavor of the month seems to be Z5. I saw you scoop one up. So this breeding cycle, I hit up 2 Z5s to try out for the maiden. So I think maybe a Z5 would be in the books too, but like I want to see more from it because, like I said, we didn't really see Finnies throwing out monsters before, but now we're seeing a lot of it. Yeah, probably a Z3. I don't know. I got my mare that produces. I hit her mother up with a legendary Zabo, and his mother 365 is in my eyes like one of the top like producing mares. Like she either produces a runner, and if the horse can't run, they can breed, which is that's solid. But I have her bloodline in there too. So like I want to hit that Zabo and just try and reconnect those lines each month.
Gotcha.
I think Z3's. I don't know. You'll get more info out of Zook than you will because he uses the tools and everything. I don't use the tools for breeding. I use my eyes and I click a lot. So
I got you.
that's my style. That's my style of work. You know, I hit you up the other day for a little info, but I can't read those charts. So I was gonna ask you after this stream, just explain this to me like I'm a dummy.
Yeah, I got you. I'll help you out. I'm a dummy too as well. Like I don't know what the hell. And then Shady Lane will come on here and he'll be like, "Nah, that's not good. Don't look at that metric. Do this, do that."
Yeah.
But how did you get plugged in with Pony Plug? Like what was the story of you joining up with Zook, Stanley, and Tish?
Well, I think I just joined the Pony Plug Discord. I was in the normal Discord for a little bit until, I get my read and then I get out. And I put out there, people were talking about doing a 24-hour stream back in March, beginning of April. And I was like, yo, if y'all need someone to take like a 2 or 3 hour block of time to talk about horse racing, like I'm down. Like here's my credentials. I posted my YouTube videos and stuff. And then NFT Anonymous hit me up and he's like, yo, you should jump on stream with Tish and us tomorrow. I was like, yeah, say no more, I'm there. So jumped on stream. It was awesome. And then we did it again the next week. It was called Stable. Oh, yeah, it was called Stable Talk. Tish had it, I think, set up beforehand. I didn't know any of these people. I just jumped on stream. I didn't know a single one of them. NFTs Anonymous is the person I said 5-10 words to, and then jumped right on. And I didn't know Tish before that night. I didn't know the other people that were on there before that night. And then there was a Discord for it. And the next morning I wake up and like shit hit the fan. And Tish messaged me. He's like, yo, I left that Discord. You should leave it too. And I woke up and I read it. I was like, Jesus Christ, what happened? It was like the whole fucking thing was burning down. Pardon me. I don't know if I can say that on here.
That's all you want.
Beautiful. I was like, yeah, they just burned it down. Like someone didn't like something that was happening. The person that like sponsored the stream, this and that. I was like, oh, fuck this. We're out. Like, so we dipped and Tish is like, so what's your game plan? I was like, I don't know. You want to do Stable Talk? He's like, yeah. So then we started doing Wednesday night Stable Talk, and then Zook had hit us up in the side. He hit me up in the side, and he's like, yo, I like what y'all are doing. What do you think about joining with us? And like, I didn't respond because I waited to hear what Tish had to say if he even reached out to Tish. Because like, I'm not gonna like. I didn't think it was this situation, but like, I'm not gonna like split from Tish and join Pony Plug and leave Tish out. So like, I wanted to see if he actually reached out to both of us, and he did. So like 2 weeks later, he hit us up again, and he's like, y'all ready to do this? I'm like, yeah, fuck it. So we jumped in, and it's been that since then.
Have you ever had a friendship like that? Because that's pretty unique, right? Like you didn't know these guys. Because me coming in and even FPS Leo, like the chemistry you guys have, like you would think that you guys all went to grade school together, right? So it's pretty cool that just kind of like off a whim, you guys met each other, Zook, and then like you guys formed the Pony Plug, and just the chemistry you guys have is amazing. So like that's awesome.
Yeah, it's dope. For sure, it's dope because not a lot of people can do that. I like to think like, I got some years under my belt. I've read some people over my times. And in horse racing, you see a lot of things. And like one thing my dad told me, he's like, yo, don't ever talk. Just stand back, watch and learn, and avoid what you don't like. So like, I learned how to read people at a young age, which is, beneficial for someone in a business that's full of scumbags. You know what I mean? So like, I got to read on Tish. Tish is just a quiet Texas boy with a little bit of, he's got a wild attitude sometimes. Me and him go at it a little bit. It's fun. And then Stanley, Stanley was a homie. We knew we kicked it, like we understood each other from the start. And then my little brother Zook, had to watch him for a little bit and learn and, guide him back this way. Don't talk with these people. Ignore these motherfuckers over here. Get back in lane, and he's come a long way. He's good. I like what I see from my mans. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at that. Like if I get a bad read on you, fuck you. Like I just don't deal with you. I don't associate with you. It's just not my style. Like if I get a bad vibe off you, I don't need it. Someone else can have that vibe. That's just what it is.
No, I agree, man. That's cool. So let's talk about like the state of Zed right now because it seems pretty good, like pretty crazy right now. People are breeding horses for these tournaments. People are excited. People are excited for the next tournament. People are just excited to go by Genesis overall. So like, how do you feel about the state of Zed right now with the tournaments, with how communication's been, just everything that's going on right now? How do you feel about Zed Run in its current state?
I guess I'm neutral on it, honestly. There's as good as they have their goods, they have their bads. If they say they're here for like it's I've said it in the early days, and like not a lot of people that are around now were watching Pony Plug 4 or 5 months ago when I was talking. But like I preached beta, like in my early days. I preached beta. I preached I'm here long term. Like if something's wrong with the game today that I don't like, I'm fine not playing like all the time until the game is fully functional. Like that's me. Nothing's changed. Like I was very very open about how I am with situations like this. Like again, it's horse racing. It's in my blood. When the game's fixed, I'm here. Like it's just neutral. There's always going to be bads. There's always going to be goods. But I'm just trying to coast even. You know what I mean? I think the tournaments are great. I think they definitely need restrictions to them for smaller stables that are breeding their Z35s and Z40s and whatnot. Um, we've seen some pretty lopsided results from the gimmick tournaments that they've done. Like the tournaments are good. It's going to make the ecosystem and it's going to help out. But now you just got to tighten the loose ends. That's it. Find the restrictions. Why is the Z1 winning an A-shaped tournament? Like why is Z1 winning a Doughboy Cup tournament? You know what I mean? When the premise of the thing is to finish fourth, not first. So they can fix these things. They will. We had a productive conversation with a couple of team members a few weeks ago on the stream, and everything we brought up to them, she had answers for us, and that's really all we want is answers when we ask questions. We just don't want tiptoe. Why lie? Just be honest. We don't know. All right, cool. You don't know. I'm okay with that. Like you gave me something. So yeah, I think it's fine. I think the maiden tournaments need to be bred horses only. I think that's something that we might see another lopsided finish here, but there's no rules saying you can't run a Genesis, so run your Genesis horses. You know what I mean? Get that cake. If you got it, get it. So yeah, I like the tournaments. I really do, and I think the tournaments are going to be huge for the ecosystem, and a lot of horses are going to have a lot more utility than they do now. But we won't see that until we get some restrictions on these tournaments.
When you say
I'm like,
when you say a Doughboy tournament, what do you mean by that? Like me personally, I know what you meant, but for the audience,
the pity point.
What is a pity point, and why did it? Because for qualifications, it made sense. For qualifications, you had to get fourth to qualify. Correct. After that, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, even the grand finals, it didn't matter. It was first through third. So exactly. Tell me about, one, them kind of taking what you coined, and then two, not actually following through with what it meant for the whole tournament.
I mean, them taking it, that's on them. You know what I mean? The community knows what the penny point is and where it comes from, and to me, that's all that matters. There's people that came out and went and batted for me, and I appreciate and respect those people. I didn't get into it too much. I'll still call it the Doughboy tournament. I'm allowed to troll every once in a while. It's my thing. But yeah, the whole premise of the pity point was you got fourth. That's it. That's you didn't get money. You got 1 point and you were sent on your way. And that was the thing. Like, I grew up playing Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. And when you went to tournaments, like local tournaments, if you didn't have a winning record, they gave you a pack for participation. So your pity pack. So pity pack, pity point, everything makes sense. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure they have the ability to restrict, like, to block. If they have the ability to put in the point system that fourth place matters, then I'm sure they could do something to say fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, or 1, 2, 3. And that's they just took maybe they didn't do it intentionally. I don't know. Again, they could have reached out and said, "Yo, what's the pity point mean to you?" And then they could have went from there. But it took a lot out of it because a lot of people were hyped about qualifying because they could use a horse that they haven't used because it doesn't finish 1, 2, 3. And there's a lot of Genesis horses out there that at certain distances in the funnel, they can maintain a certain finish. And then in the other 2 distances, they can just win. So, we saw this last tournament with, the A-shaped. LBJ Goat did it. He qualified at 1,600 where he only ran 5th through 8th. The tournament race was 1,800. He had 1 race there at 2nd in flames, but then 2,000, just shot up. So he was really untested at 1,800 and it ended up being the coin flip. He finished the opposite side of the spectrum. But yeah, you just gotta, if you're going to take things from the community, take the whole thing, you're already taking it without asking, just take the whole thing, though. Take the whole meaning with, make it the pity point tournament. You know what I mean? Make it 4th place matters, make it 5th place matters, make it 6th place matters. It's just, when you do special tournaments like that, make the whole thing special. Don't make it special. Oh, damn, I qualified my Z62 exclusive or whatever that I've been working on. Oh, good. I'm up against, my case, I was up against Terms of Engagement, who I already know was going to win. I didn't have to look at I literally opened the race, saw Terms, and I said, all right, this was fun. Round 1 was great. I made $150. Nice. Round 2, I don't have to watch the race. I already know.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And, congrats to Keith. He ended up winning the tournament, But Terms could do that. Terms, he didn't intentionally do that. He just ran Terms, and Terms did that on her own because she has the ability to do that. I understand, and that's fine. He played within the rules. He played the game how he was, supposed to play the game. I qualified horses with paid races only, and I qualified that same horse for the A-Shape Cup with no paid races. So there's ways, and that's part of the game of discovery. You have to figure out where you can, extract this information from. If you have a horse that can do that, then that's awesome. Then you have a 2-for-1. You have a horse that can win paid races and make you profit. And then while you're winning those paid races, you can qualify for a tournament and win more money. So win more is always nice. But yeah, I just think they need to keep if they're going to borrow from the community, involve the community,
Would you like to see maybe a council of racers or something like that? Just a direct line from maybe have a ambassador or someone that's kind of the voice of the racers of the community, just so we have a direct line to Zed Run or a direct communication line to where we feel we're not just speaking into an echo chamber, right?
I feel I made the comment months ago too, because when we were, during our streams, I would always point out, there's a mole in here. Someone's taking information from someone else. I know they are. And then a few weeks ago, the mole comments came back and there was a mole uncovered. So there's people that are out there. There's people that are in their ear. Will they make a council? I don't know. That would be dope. I think other NFT projects have councils. They have their councils that deal with the community. That's up to them. I'm not going to speak on that. You know what I mean? I don't really like to. I don't know. You followed me for a little bit. I'm not very I don't go out of my way to make conversation on Twitter for the most part. And I don't go out of my way to engage with team members. If something's jacked up and I don't like it, I'll tweet about it. I'm allowed to. That's cool. But as far as I'm not gonna go out and get gung ho and say, yeah, let's nominate X, Y, and Z and let's get this going. Someone else can do that. There's people out there that are more than happy to do things like that, and maybe it works. But I'm gonna sit in my corner. I'm gonna let everyone else, do their thing, and I'll pick and choose my battles here and there.
Okay. So what do you wake up, when you wake up in the morning, what do you look to get out of Zed Run? Are you waking up and looking to get profit out of racing? Are you waking up and looking to breed, waking up and looking to get your 9 races in for whatever tournament it is that day? What's your objective on a day-to-day basis in Zed Run?
To get my horses out of class 2. First thing,
Okay.
I
Okay.
haven't been doing any since they brought down classing back where my horses can go back to where they need to. That's it. We've been shooting for backwards. Like
Respect.
I just got my I just got two horses that were in class 2 down to class 5. One's at 0 right now, and the other one's sitting at like 14. So we have 7 more races to go. But you know, I, that's mainly it. I haven't been doing any breeding because I haven't again breed for need. Like I haven't needed to. But we got this maiden tournament tomorrow, so now we need to. I got 2 more to get in, I think. But yeah, like if my horses, again, my horse has been stuck in class 2 for a little over a month, so I haven't been doing any money racing. I've just been doing the tournament racing, and I'm okay with that. So I got a bunch of bred horses that are pretty good for the tournament, so I want to see if I can qualify them. If not, and they have the down button, we'll bring them back down to where they belong, and we'll try paid races. But yeah, I don't really have like a checklist when I wake up. You know what I mean? It's if I have a horse that's down classing, I mean essentially that ends up being my instead of racing. You wake up, you want to race diamonds, you want to try and get X dollars. I wake up, I want to get my horses back down to class 5. Like right now, that's my objective. And if they're already down there, my objective is to maximize the $5 races and take good, just try and maximize profit. Don't take any chances. Don't race horses that don't need to be ran.
Okay.
Don't make bad plays.
I think
if you know your horse isn't a paid runner, stop running in paid races. Just try for tournaments. That's a big part of the game. Again, and I've said this before in the past. The flashiness can look good. Gambling is addictive. Even if it's $2.50 races, if you're not winning them and you're doing 20 or 30 a day, do the math. Like that's a lot of money. So, educated, bankroll management, that's like up there too. So wake up, make sure the bankroll's tight. If I got to sell something, we sell something, but that's basically my game plan. If I sit down at this computer and I'm logging into Zed, like that's it. Get my horses where they need to belong. Get them in the right races that they need to be in. Maintain like a proper class level for the next tournament coming up. So we have we qualify easily and not have to fight against monsters. It's just a lot of your everyday stable managing, I guess.
Okay, so I think there's a great bit of information that would help listeners out. So you said like if your horse can get down to class 5, you are getting it there, right? So now once you get your horse in class 5 and it can compete there, how are you staggering paid races to down button races? Like how many paid races before a down button race so you stay in that class? Like what's your system there?
So with most horses that have, with my horse, UB, unexpected birth, like you can tell he has 600 races. So like I can see his trends. I know that. I know that. Well, it's harder now because you get 5 points for a win. So you win a race, you have to literally go backwards 3. So it's either you're gonna you want to stay in a certain class. So if you go to 0 and you end up going to 25 points and you want to, then 12 races to get you back down. You have to sacrifice, in theory, 12 races. Like with UB, he can compete in 4 or 5, class 5, class 4, and in the middle, like some depending on the field, how hard they are, how soft they are. Some class 3 like races, but when I get him into class 4, he's a monster in $10 races. So like I'm okay taking him from 0 to like 50 points and then sacrificing 25 races or 3 days of profit. As long as I stacked up getting to class 3, if I'm profitable getting up there, I'm okay taking like the 3 days off to get him back down to where I need to be. It's a lot harder now because going -2 instead of -4 for 12th, which was great for him because his grab is beautiful for like he's a sprinter and then just down goes completely backwards at distance races. So his 2400 is like a mountain here and then just a downward slope, like just a beautiful like half U.
I respect the game that you and people like you play so much more than like compared to like what I do, because me it's kind of just like plug and play, but for you have to be very aware of Well, one, you have to know like okay, well you have to like know like okay, I've seen my horse class up. It can't compete up here. I know it can compete here at class 5, but I have to know how to get it down to class 5, and then I also have to know how to maybe get it back up in class points and make some profit, but also be able to bring it right back down. Like that is very much a skill and something like that I can't do or don't have the patience to do.
That's what it is. Discipline. No, but I mean it's different with you, bro. Like Diamonds is a U horse. I have one. I hate it.
It's hard.
I ran him yesterday and he won a $5 race. I said, all right, let's see if we can get a nice little streak here. 10th, 11th, 12th, 12th, 10th, 12th. I was like, all right, you're done for the day. Fuck you.
Wrong side of street.
Yeah, I hate it. I think I have another one in the works too, which is even more tilting. And they're coming from my mare, my breeder. Like she gave me an unexpected birth who has his up switch and his down switch, but she's also given me 3 other foals that are just not the U's, and I hate it. I literally stopped running them. I cannot stand those horses. That's too much for me. Like I said, I can't. I need consistency. I can't deal with those coin flips.
So you like the very just L-shaped horse, just strong, very strong win percentage?
No, I mean I like the horses. I was running the one I qualified a couple of times. I just like horses that try. I guess I don't know. It's weird. Like the last horse I was running, Aunt KK, Crazy Cat. She said, "Hey, I got a horse. You want to run it?" Had like 10 or 15 races on it, and I think I put about 150 races on the horse.
Damn.
And she just tried. She didn't. She gave it to me, and the horse had like I think through 50 races, I had like a 63% show rate because she would just try. She couldn't ever like beat the better horse in the race, but second, third, she loved it. But she never ran past like 6th or 7th. So I like horses that just try. Like, and it's we talked about it before. When I put a bet on something, if I put a bet in on a fighter or something, and and the fighter is just dead money from this ring of the bell, I'm sick to my stomach. I had money on a dead dog. Like I just sick to my stomach. If I'm doing paid races and I'm just last. Okay, win a second, last. I can't do that. I can't do it. I need the consistency. At my age, I need consistency. You know what I mean?
I look at it like card counting, man. Like I'm like, all right, let me try and get my free 250s, 12s out, even though it's not a distance preference. I'm still like, I want to get these 12s out, and then I feel comfortable going like a $25 or $50 buy-in after I have a string of 10 through 12s.
Yeah, with UB, like I didn't. It was a long time until I tested him in the big money races after Flames because he was an odds horse, man. Man, this horse, I love my horse. He's my favorite horse. I don't think there'll ever be. I had a favorite horse before I bred this horse, but I'm 600, almost 700 races in with this horse. I've been through so much with this thing. Like before I knew what downclassing was, he was up in class 1 fighting Crimson Chin, beating it once every 10 races, which is fine. But once I figured out that how to read and how to find the down button, that was it. I took his ass back down to 0. Flames came out, started hammering $10 races, flaming. Again, he was flaming in fields with Marajo in class 4. I beat Marajo a couple times with him, which is nice too. I beat a lot of nice sprinters with this horse. He's a tryhard, but having a bred horse that you did flame in like $10 and $20 races is huge. That's big game for like my stable. That's big game because, like I said, I don't deposit money into Zed. Like if I have it, I have it. If I don't, we make moves to find it. If we can't, all right, we try and qualify in the tournament and get $100 real quick to make some moves. That's how I play this game. But having that kind of horse in a small bankroll stable, you can take that risk every once in a while and try and find a field where the $10 field is a little weaker. The $25 field is slightly weaker, and that if you're sprinting at your distance, you're live. I always feel good when I put him in like a $10, $15, or $20 race because I know I have a live dog. Even if he doesn't pull flames, I have a live dog. And that's what I love about it.
And that's awesome because when you pulled flames in those paid races, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull them in these free races. Especially when you get into like the $10 and the $15 buy-ins, and you're pulling flames. It's like, oh, I'm probably gonna pull 100% if we go like for a Fibonacci 3.0 and I just do free races to try and qualify.
Oh yeah,
You're already flaming in paid, so you're just probably gonna keep that
yeah.
100%
He's
flame
an
in
easy.
free.
He easily qualified. I didn't run him in paid races. I mean, I ran him in paid races or paid free races back in the day. Like, yeah, that was fine. Like, that's how I figured out what he was. I ran him like after I bred him. He was still in class 4, class 5, and a class 1,000 meter popped up, and I said, well, let's see what we got. And there was a lot of big horses in there, and he ran third. I was like, all right, we got something. So then I ran him in a class 2, and he pulled single digit odds, and I said, oh, okay, we got something. So we worked our way up, and we figured him out, and we have something. So it's a lot of research, man. It really is. It's just a lot of work you got to put in. And if you have a team to help you out, it's awesome. If not, I enjoy doing the work myself. Like I said earlier with the horse, I took care of my own horses. Like, I like doing all this work myself. It's fun to me. I'm big, huge from fantasy football background. Like the last 15 years, plus of playing, stats is huge for me. So like, all my fantasy football, like from the time I started Zed this year, I would normally start like best ball drafts in March, April, right before the draft, and then fire through. I didn't do a single NFL draft like before September this year. Like Zed just took everything because it has everything else I want. I like stats. I like breeding. I like reading all that stuff and trying to figure it out. So.
What's the personal connection like? Like, what's the difference between a real life racehorse and your favorite digital racehorse that can race every day for you? Like, what's that personal connection like? What's the difference?
For me, the real life connection is more. It has more advantages, it has more benefits, in my opinion. I mean, you can get attached to your digital horse, but like when you wake up and you have a shitty day and you sit down at your computer and your digital horse ain't performing, like, that's not fun. Right. When you wake up and you're in your shitty mood, like when you wake up and you're in a shitty mood and you get to the stable and you see your horse, depending on the type of person you are, your day turns around. You know what I mean? Horses were therapy for me, man. Horses are therapeutic for me. When I had horses, when I was waking up and taking care of my horses every day, oh man, that was a different doughboy back then. Those animals, I don't know. Horses are my favorite animals to begin with. So like, maybe I just have a stronger connection, but like, it's like having a giant dog, essentially. Some of them are dickheads and all they want to do is hurt you. And some of them are just giant cuddle bears that you can just go sit down in the stall with while they're laying down. You know what I mean? So to me, the real connection with horses is I value more. Like, this is fun. This is a getaway. You know what I mean? It's an escape. But like the real feels. I don't know. Like I said, you might get a different answer.
No,
depending who you ask.
I agree.
I don't want to ramble on about it.
I agree. Like, my family used to have real life not race horses, but just horses in general, and it's a whole process, right? Like, you wake up in the morning, you go to the feed store, you go load up the truck with hay, and then you take it up to the barn, you go fill up their water bins, fill up their hay, give them their grain or whatever, brush them down. Like, it's a whole process. And just you wake up and your whole day is like caring for that horse and going and feeding it or doing whatever. So I agree 100%.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. Like, I wasn't working when I had my horses. That's what I did. I woke up and I did my horses. I lived off of what they produced for me. So if I wasn't eating, I mean, they ate before I did. Like, if I didn't have money to go out to the club that weekend, it's because I had to go buy, grain and hay and, bedding and everything for the horse. That's the difference. Like, it's essentially like having a kid. You know what I mean? Like, the kid comes first, the horse comes first. The horse eats before I do, the kids eat before I do. So yeah, it's a different connection from person to person, but man, it's a great connection if you have it. I fucking love horses, dude. It's crazy,
awesome.
Man.
It's awesome, man. So if I gave you the keys to Zed Run right now, you can change one thing. You can bring back odds, take away flames, take away fatigue, take away whatever you want, or add whatever you want. What would you change in Zed Run, and why?
I don't know. Honestly, I never like. If I could change one thing, it would be the tournament structures. Like, that's what I want. That's the only thing I want. Because if they're gonna make tournaments the backbone of this whole thing, and breeding is gonna be the cycle, then these tournaments have to be able to support the horses that are breeding and not just Genesis horses. Like Genesis horses are meant to be the backbone of breeding. You know, that's what they want, and that's what I'm starting to get from looking at the breed minimums, where they're incentivizing you with like the small gap between Genesis and Legendary. They're incentivized. They're telling you to breed with. In my eyes, they're telling you to breed with Genesis. Um, but yeah, I think with tournaments, I just want to see a better structure. That's it. You know, if a small stable makes it with a bred horse, they shouldn't have to wake up and see fucking billions in their quarterfinals race or in their semifinals race. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what I would go with. Like everything else, let everyone else's they can worry about flames and this and that. Like flames don't mean shit to me. I have never worried about the flames. Like it's cool when you pull them with like a first time starter because then it helps you a little bit, but there's more to that to figure those out for the most part. But I you know flames people. There's other people I can go to war for flames. There's other people I'll go to war for odds, and I'll sit back and if I like it, I'll support it. If not, y'all are doing good without me. Um, but yeah, I think the tournament structure is the only thing that I really would want to bat for, and possibly I asked the team when they were on about the breeding thing with Genesis being so close to Legendary. So I'll wait to see what they give me on that. But yeah, I think I personally would mess around with the tournament structure because if we're gonna have these tournaments, maybe they open it up. Maybe instead of having one tournament, they have one large tournament and three medium-sized tournaments running throughout the week, or something. But you can only qualify for one, so you have to lock your horse into one of those tournaments. Like maybe they have the all Genesis tournaments. Like they can do these things. When they get there to do them is up to them. We're we get what we get, at this point,
You could do it kind of like the Dons and Donkeys, like how Zombie does it.
Yeah,
You could
Zombie,
register
yeah.
for a donkey if your horse is shit, and register for the Dons if you want to be on the winning side of horses.
Yeah, like, they have the capabilities of doing all this stuff, whether they want to or not. I'm just someone who streams their game, and would like, I like to play the game, but I want to play more. So you gotta give the smaller stables. I'm not talking about myself here. You gotta give the smaller stables outside of me that come in and buy two horses or buy a horse and breed their horse. You have to give them a chance. If you're not giving them a chance, they're gone. Like, oh, I'm not having fun. I'm out of here. I have no chance to win. I'm out of here. Like, but and then the other thing comes into play where horse racing is a sport of kings, and you should have a bankroll, and that's you'll get those comparisons, but if this is a game, you know what I mean? Like your game needs to be accessible to everyone and everyone needs to be able to play and have fun. If people aren't having fun, then what's your game?
If you
It's
had to,
lopsided.
if you had to restart today, sell your stable and everything, like you had no horses, but you understood Zed Run, how much Ethereum would you come in with as your initial investment, and what would you buy as a starting stable? How much ETH and
I
what
think
would
you
you
can
get?
do. I think you can right now at this point. I think you can do a lot of damage just with just one ETH. Honestly, um, like you could come in with even a half ETH. I think, and you can scoop up a Genesis, like, and then just have a Genesis to try things out with. You should be able to. Most Genesis you should be able to qualify for a tournament here and there. Um, but I would say, if I was to reset, I would look to come in with one ETH. And go from there. Because when like I said, I think I put total into this game maybe $1,500-$1,700, maybe, and I'm still running off of it. So it's all about your bankroll management for one. But yeah, I think one ETH. If you just want to come in and have like a starter stable build, you can come in, you can get a legendary knock. They're pretty cheap right now. Like depending what you want, you can get. You can pick up one of those. You can pick up a Zabo, male or female. Like you can pick up just a breeding pair for your starts. Like there's a lot you could do, and there's a lot. In the past months, I said it before. You can come in with now. You can come in with maybe $500 and pick up a couple of like unraced horses and just see what happens. You know. there's a lot you could do. There's a lot of ways you can approach this game. You don't have to come in with money bags. If you come in with money bags, sure, but you have to also remember you have to try and get that investment back at some point. So that's the big part. So coming in, like I was comfortable with if my 1500 went to zero, that's fine. I'm okay with that. That's no big deal. I wouldn't be okay if my multiple East went to zero. So like, it's a game of you gotta see where you fit, and playing your attack that way.
If you're WAGME, how do you justify spending this much money on these horses? Where do
I don't
you
know,
see the EV coming back in the future? Is it sponsored races? Is it high stakes tournaments? Like, how in the hell are you gonna get that much Ethereum?
I've touched on this before. I think I touched on it with the Breathless Edge sale. It's like, I just don't know how. I personally don't like with Breathless Edge. Like he's a dog shit breeder. You know what I mean? Like people can praise him all they want. Like it's not good. Um, I imagine that purchase was made with the thought that we're gonna have $250,000 races possibly, or $250,000 tournament races or something that's bigger than what we're having now. I assume that's what that purchase was for. And if that's the case, that's good strategy. If we think Zed's gonna have these big tournaments like that, then they got in, when they needed to. As far as like Wagme and them, I just don't know. Like I don't. I haven't looked at like the breeding lines of the horses that they picked up, like if they're good breeders or if they're just good racers. But I imagine if they're, like maybe they're in the same spot, maybe they're gonna have, $1,000 entry races, or high stakes tournaments where it's like $1,000 entry, and they don't cap it. You can enter as many horses as you want, and maybe I imagine these moves had to be made with the vision that there's going to be higher stakes races, and if that was in their thought process while they were making these purchases, then I can't fault them. You know what I mean? They did their homework. They have a reason that they did it. But me personally, I can't see it outside of that. Maybe sponsorships, but like, when that happens, you can't bank on that. Just like you can't bank on the high stakes races either. But those are some tough moves. I mean, tough in the eyes of I don't think I can make those moves. So for the person to make those moves, I imagine it wasn't an easy decision. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I'll have to reach out and see. Just ask them how easy was the scale 1 to 10.
Right.
That's it. You don't even have to give me a response. 1 to 10. That's it. How easy was it? But yeah, that's tough. It's really tough. In the state of Zed right now, those are tough. If you're, like I said, if you look to the future and you think that that's what's coming, then they're great plays.
Yeah, I do think it is a great play because I do think we do get these sponsorship races. And if we're looking back in maybe a few years from now, it was a perfect time to do it. Like during the buyer's market, during the FUD, during the Sentinel Gate and all this shit. Like if everything plans out the way that we think Zed does play out, that might have been like the best acquisition of a whole racing stable during a dip.
Yep. Because, I mean, when they bought Breathless Edge, like, he qualified for the tournament fairly easy.
That
like,
was Perry on Dow, I believe, that bought Breathless. They bought...
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. They my fault. I thought you were talking about Wagme. But yeah, Perry raced it for the first inaugural tournament, right?
Yeah. And it qualified pretty easy. Like, I'm pretty sure it had like 18 wins out of 30 races or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty easy. So, if and who knows if that changes to, like, when it's all Genesis fields, maybe it's not, 18 wins. Maybe it's like 10 wins. Like that's still pretty good against all Genesis fields, especially, class 1 ones as well. So yeah, I mean, to each their own, you know what I mean? Everyone, you can't tell someone how to spend their money. A lot of people try to, but spend your money how you want to spend your money, you make moves how you're going to make moves, just as long as you have a clear cut idea and plan with your movement, then I think you're good.
You think we get into like a D1, D2, D3, D4 type situation to where like that'll technically be the classes, or even like seasons? I've heard people talk about seasons, but like LBJ Go, Artois, all these horses are going to be like D1 equivalent horses. Not saying that someone can't buy a horse and that it can't be a really good D3 player, right? But
Yeah.
like the D1 horses are going to be like those top horses, right? But you just have to have
Yeah.
a way for them to justify spending that much money on a horse.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we might have like, we might have those leagues. That's what I mean. They have the ability to do all this stuff on, if they can make custom races where they can take zombies races and put them on, then they're showing us that they have the ability to do a lot. Just when is the question or the answer, I guess. But they could easily make these leagues. Like I think they would be dope to have like a month long or like a couple week long league where you pay X dollars to get in, and your league is a marathon league. So we find out who the best marathon is. Like I think that would be dope.
Yeah, me too.
We have a lot. Well, they're gonna have to do something. 5 classes and a handful of races in each one isn't gonna be enough at a certain point. They definitely have to. My thing was for the longest time was the class. The class. We need more classes. That's just what it comes down to as well. But yeah, I think we're gonna see. If this game keeps progressing how it's supposed to, I think we're gonna see. I think the platform is gonna be pretty decent. I think we're gonna have something for everyone, like it should be. Everyone should feel involved with what they have in their stable.
Right. It's like not saying that you can't come in and get a racehorse, but there's a very small amount of college football or football players that go D1, right? So it's going to be like racehorsing or like horse racing. Like you have the shot at getting a horse if you buy UU that could go D1, but he could be a fucking D3 horse, right? So
Yep.
But that's the lure of the game, right? You could have a guy like me that comes in, his first NFT, his first horse is a top 10 horse, and then when Ebb says like traditional horse racing is a game of kings, yes, but then like this game, a king can be born. Like you could buy a horse like Diamonds, and if you hold on to it, yeah, you could sell it. You make a nice profit, but if you hold on to a horse like that, like you become a king in this game, and you can compete against the highest of the highest caliber.
Yep.
So last question for you, if you had unlimited budget, you could buy one horse. The owner was willing to sell the horse. What horse would you buy, and how much would you be willing to pay for it?
I want Cougar, but Monty's knows I'm a Cougar fan for months now, and I put so much respect on that horse. That horse is just, he does both. He's a great breeder. He can run. He's Z1. He's just an all around good horse. I don't think there's a number that he would take, honestly, but if I was a psychopath and I had unlimited ETH to spend, I would probably offer like, that's so gross to think about because I would never do this. It's so disgusting.
Go for it.
Probably like 55 maybe.
55 ETH?
Yeah. And maybe that might be low to him. Maybe he won't take that, but that's what I would offer. That horse is just great. I love that horse. I absolutely love that horse.
I forgot to ask you this. How do you tell your friends and family about this?
I don't. Ha!
Gotcha.
No, I mean, it's easy. Like I said, horse racing is part of my life. So like I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm playing this digital horse racing game. She's like, oh, that's neat. I was like, okay, cool. I tell my friends and like my OG homies that know me that I've taken to the racetrack with me when I had horses running, like they're like, oh, that's sick. Like, maybe I'll get a horse. Maybe. It's hard because no one knows. As soon as you say the 3 magic letters NFT, like everyone's opinions change real quick. Like the ones that don't know what NFTs are, they get scared and defensive about it. The ones that want to learn, they want to ask you the questions, and sometimes I don't have the answers because I still the space is still young, so I'm still learning everything as well. It's that, but yeah, I mean it's pretty easy. It was pretty easy to say, yeah, I got this horse racing game. Because like I used to play Gallop Racer for PlayStation, and I used to, a Jockey Club, a Gold Cup. I used to play all these games for horse racing. So like they know, they suspect it. It's like if I hit any of them up randomly, like, yo, you want to go to the racetrack? Yep, we're there. Like they know. Mm-hmm. It's just they assume that's what I'm doing.
Right. It's so new. It's hard to get them in there. Because I'll look back at like my mom. She'd be terrified to put her, or she used to be terrified to put her credit card on like eBay or something like that. So like when you tell people about these NFT things and like how to do it and how to buy crypto and all that, they're just terrified. They're like, I'm going to get scammed. I'm going to do this. I'm like, yes, you could get scammed very easily because someone is trying to scam you. But
Yeah.
just like because my mom just figured out how to use Amazon and all that shit, right? And it's been around forever, but
Yeah.
you see how long it takes people to really like adapt and feel comfortable with using a new technology.
Yeah, it's tough. The other thing you got to remember too is there's, like I said, people don't look at this as gambling, and there's people out there that I'm not. Why would I waste my hard-earned money? Like, why would I do that? Then there's people like me. You know what I mean? 200 here, 150 here, and then there's people, the casual people in the middle. Oh, it's Kentucky Derby Day. I'll bet $20. Like, there's the three stages of that to figure out who you are in that bar. And, once you tell people, oh, well, if you want to race for profit, you can, you put money up. To them, that's gambling. So you got to hit them with the, oh, yeah, there's free racing. You can qualify for the tournaments for free and potentially win money. So you got to figure out your attack. Let them figure out that that you can pay money to win money later on, So it's all about the plan of attack for me.
Yeah, and you're like, no, I own this horse. No. I'm not betting. No, I actually own this horse.
Yeah, I'm putting this horse into a race
Yes.
with my own money, just like I would in real life if I wanted to race in like a stakes race. You got to pay a nomination fee to win. You know what I mean? It's there. But yeah, man, it's depending on who you talk to. You know what I mean? It's easy. Depending on who you talk to, it's hard. Sometimes you figure out real quick whether it's worth the 5-10 minutes of your breath and time to sit there and explain things. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, Doughboy, you got any questions for me, bro?
I didn't really come prepared for this. I don't normally come prepared for these interview type things. I like to go off the top, but is Diamonds is a mare or a colt?
He's a stallion. He's a stallion. Yep. Bought him as a colt. Bought him UU.
I got a Z2 I need to breed for tomorrow. I was going to hit you up about that last week, but I didn't know if his breeds were taken or if you did anything with those.
I
also don't know if he's a good breeder or not, so that's the other thing I got to check out.
Shit, I mean, Dan Shan said he's a good breeder, so I'll take him for his word. I mean,
what does he know?
Hey,
We'll find out tomorrow what he knows.
Exactly.
I'm
excited. We got Shady Lanes. We got versus the Blood Tool. We got just General Zed versus the Blood Tool. So
I haven't talked about.
He showed out last time. So I got to give him his props. We'll see if he can do it again.
Yeah, let's see if he can beat some Genesis horses this time. Oh man, yeah, no, I don't really have any questions. You know what I mean? It's we don't really know each other that well outside of stable duels and the few interactions and DMs on fight night. But like, we'll get to know each other. We'll get some more questions going. Maybe we'll do a stream or something.
Hell yeah, man, and
figure something out.
We'll definitely be hitting each other up for some UFC picks or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once they make gambling legal here in Washington, I'm gonna be on that. I
can't believe that. I can't believe it.
I'm a horrible bettor. I went to UFC 264, McGregor versus Poirier. I got every single bet wrong. Ryan Hall wrong. Fucking Tai Tuivasa.
Don't feel bad about Ryan Hall. Don't feel bad about the Ryan Hall bet, because I was heavy on Ryan Hall that night and he just got knocked the fuck out.
He was just rolling on the ground. I'm like, fuck.
That's his style though. Like, he knows what's gonna happen. And then Tuivasa, that's my man's. I've been making money off him for between him and Derek Lewis. I think they made me so much money, and then everyone else just takes it back.
How can you have Derek Lewis as an underdog against some? I'm like, come on.
I told my wife, I was like, I'm gonna empty my bank account and bet Derek Lewis. She's like, if you think it's a good bet, go for it.
I got
that's it
right there. Lewis versus Olynyk on the wall. Got it signed.
That fight made me so much money too. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I'm always down for a DJ. I bet a little 200 on the Raiders last night, like a psychopath. So I'm always down to bet,
Let's go, man.
That was a calculated bet that I didn't think was gonna, play out as poor as it did. That was dog shit, that game. Damn, I hated it.
Would you bet on Zed, like, with real money? If they had Zed betting, would you bet on it just consistently? Because the horses, like, what distance they'd be good at, right?
That's what I used to do in the Zed bets things. Like when Sean Versal was streaming, I would go in and, like, we had 5-6 minutes to look at the race. I would go to know your horse and pull the horses up and go through and look and see where they ran. If it was a paid race, see what their things were. and I cracked like top 3 of that thing like a few times, but
Nice.
never won it. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I can't say no because I probably would. You know what I mean? I would try it. I would. I bet anything.
Bet on what you know.
I bet everything. You know what I mean? As long as it's a calculated bet. Sometimes I throw the DGen bets out there, but most of the time everything's pretty much calculated for me.
Base hits most of the time.
Yeah, calculated risk, man. If you're not doing calculations, you're not doing it right. You know, you got to have I like to have my money in good. If I have my money in good, I'm all right. You know, we go from there.
Where can people contact you at, and then where can people watch you at on Pony Plug?
Where am I at here? I think we're at twitch.tv/ponyplug 245. Holy shit, I couldn't tell you.
247, I think.
247, yeah, 247. I'm on Twitter at Senor_Mex, SENOR_MEX. That's my old Call of Duty tag. I got to figure out how to change it. I don't know if I can. And then I'm in the Discord. We're in the Pony Plug Discord most of the time. If anyone has questions about, you know, they want help with their horse or whatever, you can hit me up in Discord or hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are always open for that kind of stuff. And then I got a YouTube page too, Jose's Culinary Chop Shop. Nothing's been updated for a long time. I gotta work on that, but I got some cooking videos over there as well for the cooking connoisseurs.
Hell yeah. Go watch Doughboy whip up some duck, man. I've never had duck before, but when I saw you whipping it and then you did like the jelly or the jam, I'm like, damn, dude.
The sauce, baby. It's all that sauce. Yeah, man, it's fun. I got to get back into it. That's one thing I miss doing is the videos. I just don't have a proper video editor, and maybe I just don't need one. I'll just go live every day and do it. But yeah, I got to work on it. It would be nice to be a full-time content creator doing Zed and other NFT games, and also doing like cooking videos again. That's the dream right there.
That'd be pretty cool, dude. Like wake up, like you could do like Doughboy's Day. Just Doughboy's Day. Doughboy's Day is you wake up with Doughboy, make breakfast, see what he makes. We're gonna go do some fucking horse racing. We might come back and make a lunch or something. Like,
yeah,
that's a whole ass dope series. You could do something like that.
I just gotta get that sponsorship, man. Get a Betty Crocker sponsorship or something like that.
Yeah, let's go, man. We'll hit up Know Your Horses or somebody. See if the Zed Run community can help us out.
That'd be dope. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's always fun, man. Cooking's a good time. You know what I mean? If you have the patience to sit and learn how to do it, it's beneficial. You know, everyone's got to eat.
I don't got the patience. See, like for me, it takes.
You're still young, Grasshopper.
Yes,
You're still young.
yes,
You're a baby. You know what I mean? I got 13 years on you. You know.
I'd rather go to
Learn
Panda
patience.
Express, like, because what you make will take you goddamn 2 hours, but you're gonna finish eating it in 20 minutes, and I'm like, damn, bro, like I can't weigh that. You know what I'm saying?
You can make anything, and you don't need 2 hours. You know what I mean? You got 30 minutes, you can make something. It's just I'm on a different level than most people. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've been doing this shit a long time, so like. When I would do those videos, my homie would be like, all right, you know what you're getting? And I look at him like, no. I was like, let me spark this J real quick, get a little inspiration. And we'd walk through the market and I would just grab shit. All those videos, I would just grab shit as I went. And like, I just came up with it on the fly. Like, I never planned any of that shit out.
I love that shit though, because like
freestyle.
I said,
I love freestyle.
I was telling you before, like just the whole culture, you know, like I don't get to experience culture like that, but that culture is cool. Like you're walking, you're going, and then you're talking to the lady. You're like, hey, let me try that piece of cheese or meat right there, and she's passing it over. I'm like, man, that culture, just the Philly culture, seems like a lot of fun.
That was pre-COVID too. That's when everything was dope. Now it's tough now. But yeah, man, cooking's always good. Any cooking questions too? I'm here. I got you. I love doing it. But yeah, I need to get my shit together and get back on the cook game. So we'll see what happens.
All right, man.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. It was dope. This is good stuff.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, all right, guys. This is episode 34 of Zed Daily. We'll be back tomorrow with Swift Silks Racing with episode 35. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.